G'day guys, Seeney here and welcome to another episode on the Australian Wealth Channel, and in this episode we are talking about the purchase of my brand new property on the Gold Coast. So before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps to get these videos out to more people. So I'm going to break down my recent purchase of an investment property up on the Gold Coast. Now, this is an investment property that is actually a commercial property. So this is the first commercial property that I've done. Everything else prior to this has been residential. But of course, as I continue to get older and as you get older, you might want to look a little bit more towards cash flow rather than growth. So this particular property, I'm going to go through all the details of what the purchase looks like and how we thought it was a good deal and go from there. So this particular property is in the suburb of Nerang. So Nerang is just off the Gold Coast, so to speak. So you've got Broadbeach and Surfers Paradise and all of these ones that sit right on the beach. Nerang is just inland from those ones. So this particular property is a unit that makes up part of a complex. And this particular unit is a great space for small business with a couple of employees. So the footprint of this property is 65 meters squared, so it's not a big property by any stretch of the imagination. And we picked up this property for $365,000. Thankfully, no GST attached because it is considered a going concern, which means there's already a business running out of that premises. So to fund this purchase, it was essentially all borrowed money. I didn't really have to tap into any of my own cash supplies. So $150,000 of this came from the equity of my existing property portfolio that I could borrow and take out of the properties, followed by a loan, which is a business loan of $212,000. So combined, that adds up to, I think, $362,000, and the purchase price $365,000. So I had to tip in an additional $3,000 of my own money, plus the stamp duty that's attached to that, which ended up being about $11,000. So not a huge amount of money from my end. Obviously, it is still something, but I've managed to fund this essentially with the equity of my portfolio. So the rent on this particular property is $21,735 a year, and this also is plus outgoing. So that means things like power, water, and also strata fees. That is one of the wonderful things about commercial property. As the landlord, you don't have to pay all of these extra fees if the property is being rented. So what this means is that the yield is 5.95%. So nearly a 6% yield, which is pretty bang on for most of the commercial properties that exist around that place. Now, going into this, we knew we were going to get a good deal because the property did need some work. We made sure that before we bought the property, as everyone should, we got a pest and building report. And this revealed a lot of things because the construction is a little bit older. I believe it was built in the 80s. So what that means is that we needed to do some additional work. So this cost about $15,000 to $20,000 to fix up the property to get it to a place where it was, pretty solid. I believe the previous owner was selling purely because they didn't want to deal with all the headache and the extra costs involved with this. But I know that when you do put some additional money into a property, it also increases the value and it also increases the amount of rent that you will be able to get off the property over the longer term. And with commercial property, what you see is that if you can find a way to double the rent, you can double the rental income, then the property value is going to increase significantly. So I knew that any money that we put in would make it more attractive. And this property is also rented slightly under market value as well. So when we get new tenants in there, that means that we'll also be able to increase the rental on this. And consequently, that also means that it will increase the property value because it's very tied together when it comes to commercial. So there's a lot of places all around Australia that I could invest. So why did I choose the Gold Coast? Now, there's a great reason. Well, there's a lot of great reasons for this actually, but we already have two in Brisbane, so we're very exposed to that market. We have one in Thornlands and also one over in Springfield Lakes, but we don't have anything in the Gold Coast. We've got something in Adelaide, and of course we have our home here in Sydney. But I wanted to get some exposure to the Gold Coast market, and the reason for that is because the population is set to double in the next 10 years. So going from, I believe, 800,000 people that currently reside in the Gold Coast to 1.6 million within 10 years. So what that means is there's going to be an insane demand for services. You know, all the small businesses that operate in that area, they're going to have so many more people that are coming in. So there's going to be a lot more demand for services and consequently a lot more demand for space, especially close to the coast. So that's one of the main reasons is population growth is going to be massive. Of course, interest rates are going to come down as well. So that means that anything that you do buy is probably going to see a little bit of a bump in value purely because there's more availability of credit. Now, it's obviously not a one-to-one. This doesn't happen every time, but I think in this particular circumstance, that's what's going to happen. So we have the booming population. We have it close to water. The Gold Coast market in some places is quite expensive, but it's not unaffordable. You know, there's a lot of places around the Gold Coast that are affordable for most people to live, which means there'll be a lot of young families that are moving into the area that require services like pediatricians or podiatry or whatever it may be. So that is the type of space that this unit allows, is for small businesses to operate out that can certainly help the people that live in the local area. And one of the other big reasons is that there is huge investment going into the Gold Coast. Of course, we have the Olympics that are coming up in Brisbane, but of course, a lot of that investment is going to flow on to the Gold Coast. And along with that, they're building roads like crazy there because so many people are moving in there. There's going to be a lot more investment into the Gold Coast, which is going to make it an even more attractive place to live. So with all of these factors coming together, it just seems like a pretty sound purchase. So I'll be holding this for as long as we can. Who knows what the future is going to turn out like, but property is of course a long game. You can't get in and out every month or every second month or whatever you want to do because of the holding costs, but we're going to hold this for a long time along with our other properties, and we'll see what happens. So this takes the property portfolio to 5 properties now. For the next little while, I'll be focusing on increasing my income because serviceability at this point is pretty capped out. At this point, we have about $2.2 million in debt. I'd love to be able to take on more. However, to make sure that I have the serviceability required to take out more debt, it's very important that I increase my income. So for the next couple of years, that is going to be the focus. I've done that by purchasing another business, which we'll be looking to scale up, and hopefully that'll be another great source of income. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video and some of the information that I've been able to share. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments in the comments section and I'd love to help you. Make sure you like and subscribe. My name is Seeney, and we'll see you later.